Have you ever looked at your savings account and just felt like becoming a millionaire is, well, basically impossible? Like it's a goal for someone else? What if I told you the way you're thinking about the math is probably all wrong? Yeah, let's get into this, because the real numbers are honestly so much more encouraging than you'd ever believe. All right, let's just start with a super direct question. Imagine you've worked hard, you've saved, you've been disciplined, and you finally hit that first huge milestone. $100,000 in the bank. So, on your journey to $1,000,000, how far along the path do you think you are?
Your brain, right? It does the simple math. 100,000 is 10% of a million. So you're 10% of the way there. Seems logical. But the actual math of investing says you're not 10% of the way there. You're actually about a third of the way there. Wait, what? That massive gap between how we feel and what's real is exactly what we're going to unpack.
So why do we get this so wrong? It all comes down to what I like to call the $1,000,000 misconception. And believe me, this is the one core misunderstanding that stops so many people from ever building real, lasting wealth.
Here's the thing. We're all wired to think in straight lines. You save $1, your net worth goes up by $1. Simple. But because of this, the beginning of the journey feels like an absolute painful grind. You're putting in all this effort for what feels like tiny returns. And that feeling, that's exactly why most people give up. They quit before the magic even has a chance to start.
And that brings us to the secret ingredient, the force that completely shatters that straight line, the magic of compounding. So what is this magic? Well, it's something so powerful Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. And it is the engine behind pretty much all serious wealth creation. In a nutshell, it's compound interest. Your money doesn't just sit there, it goes out and works for you, earning returns. But then, and this is the key part, those returns start earning their own returns. It's not a straight line at all. It's a curve that gets steeper and steeper over time. The best way to picture it? A snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but pretty soon, it's huge and moving fast. You know who knew this better than anyone? The legendary investor Charlie Munger. He famously said that the first 100,000 is the hardest part. It's not just about scraping the money together. It's about surviving that slow, grinding start before your financial snowball really starts to pick up some serious speed. Okay, so let's put some real numbers to this. Let's actually walk the path to $1,000,000 and see this compounding effect in action. This is where it gets really, really cool. So here's our game plan. It's simple, it's consistent. We're just going to invest $100 a week. That's it. And for our return, we'll assume an 8% average annual return, which, looking back at history, is a pretty reasonable expectation for a diversified stock portfolio over the long haul. And boom, here's the journey. That first super tough 100,000, it takes about 12 years. Now I know, that sounds like a long time, but just watch what happens next. The second 100,000 doesn't take another 12 years. It only takes 6. The growth is literally speeding up, and you keep this up. By year 36, you've crossed that $1,000,000 finish line. Let this one sink in, because this is the most important part. The time it takes you to stack another 100 grand gets shorter and shorter and shorter. You do all the heavy lifting for those first 12 years. After that, your money starts doing more and more of the work for you. It's amazing. Okay, now look at this chart. This is absolutely mind-blowing. By the time you get to that $1,000,000, the amount of money you personally put in is only about 19% of the total. Let me say that again. More than 80%, over $800,000, is pure growth. It's just your money making more money. Your snowball did way more work than you did. All right, I can hear the gears turning. You're probably thinking, okay, this sounds great in theory, but what about the real world? You know, with all its problems. So let's tackle those doubts head on. First up, the big one. The one everyone's afraid of. Markets don't just go up, right? What about when everything comes crashing down?
Look, crashes happen. They're part of the deal. And yeah, they are scary. But if you're investing that same $100 every single week, a market crash is actually a massive opportunity. It's like your favorite store having a huge sale. Your $100 now buys more shares than it did before, all at a discount. The absolute #1 mistake you can make is to panic and sell when things are low. You just gotta stay the course.
Okay, next out. Inflation. Isn't that $1,000,000 going to be worth a lot less in 36 years? Won't inflation just eat it all up?
This is such a great question, and it's a super important point.
The 8% return we're using in this example is what's called a real return. That just means the effect of average inflation has already been taken out of the number. So yes, while your loaf of bread will cost more in the future, this 8% growth is what you'd see on top of that inflation. You're still building real wealth.
And now we get to the most common roadblock of all. This is all cool, but there is no way I can find an extra $100 a week.
Well, for a lot of us, the money is actually there. It's just going somewhere else. I mean, look at these numbers. The average person spends hundreds of dollars every month just on eating out. The average car payment is over $700 for an asset that loses value the second you drive it off the lot. So the question isn't always, how can I earn more? Sometimes it's, where can I shift my money from things that go down in value to things that go up?
So let's bring this all full circle, back to that first big goal. Because hitting that $100,000 mark truly unlocks everything. And it's about so much more than just the money. It's a total psychological game changer.
For starters, there's a huge psychological shift. When you see 6 figures in your account, the millionaire goal stops being a fantasy. It suddenly feels real. It feels possible. Second, you've built the most critical asset of all, the habit of discipline. You've proven to yourself that you can stick to a plan. And third, you unlock options. You get the freedom to take a chance on a new job, or maybe start that business you've always dreamed of, because you have a real financial safety net.
And really, that's what this all boils down to. The math isn't the hard part. The truly incredibly difficult part is having the patience to stick with a simple, kind of boring plan for years and years, especially when we live in a world that wants everything right now.
So, I'll leave you with this one last question. Time is going to pass no matter what we do. 36 years from today, are you going to look back and thank the person who decided to start now, or are you going to be left wondering what could have been? The choice, really, is all yours.